approach us with that need. We take time to understand what you do so that we fit into your financial need. Such that at the end of the day, when you take our money, you pay back with ease. What do I mean here? Pig production, like they have been taking us through, takes quite some time to yield money. If you're feeding a mother pig so that you realize its output later on, it will take you, like I had, about 12 months to give you the first piglets, which you'll be able to sell. So now, when you approach us for funding in such a scenario, we have grace periods that we can provide depending on your need. And it is upon that later on that we eventually start tapping money from you when we know that at this time you're actually realizing sales of piglets. We have this funding, it has always been there, but most of the farmers don't come for it. Or they come for it, but they have inadequate security to enable them get the funding. Now, Doctor here was talking of making the smallest piece of land that you have very productive. That small piece of land is what the bank is interested in, where you're doing your farming activity. We don't want you to go and give us a huge building in the middle of town, your home, whatever it is, but that piece of land where you're doing farming is the one where the bank is interested in. Not to sell it, okay? But as you know, everything has a risk. And the bank, in most cases, does not want to lose any shilling of its capital. When it loses it, that means it is running out of business. You will end up getting closed, that, like the likes of the banks that were closed in the 1990s. That's what we call sustainable financial services. Now, we have gone ahead to even give loans based on chattels. Chattels, it means movable stock. Which other banks don't anyway? Movable stock can include, okay, chattels can include movable stock, whereby you may have sacks of feed in your, but they are not enough and you want to add on. So we take that as security. We come to your house, when we visit, we realize that probably you have very good sofa set, we chattel them. All that is to make you feel that this loan is not for free. You get what I mean? The aim is not to take your chattels. It's not to come and take your TV or your radio or something, but to make you know that this loan, once it defaults, I'll be ashamed. Probably these guys will come and take my property. So you work a bit harder, and at the end of the day, you benefit, and the bank also benefits at a sustainable cost. So we have quite a number of other loans that we provide in our bank, but I want to limit myself to only that. If there is any question that I can answer before I leave, it's welcome.
Interest rate.
Can I answer one by one?
Yeah.
Okay. Our interest rate prime is 21%.
Agricultural loan? Agricultural loan?
Yes. It is our prime rate. It is our starting lending rate. Yeah, and it's on reducing balance. I did not bring here visual aids to show you exactly how it is broken down. But however, if all of you have email addresses, probably I will collect them and give you that breakdown. It is on reducing balance. By reducing balance means that every time you pay a portion of principal, the interest applied goes only the remaining part of that principal. Okay? So you find that if you take 1 million, for example, for 1 year, you end up paying back about 260,000 in a year. So when we talk of 21%, you know, you see it does not exactly come the way it is supposed to.
That's a standard loan, and why should an agricultural loan be more of an incentive than a standard loan?
Yes.
Like, why is there more of an incentive to get an agricultural loan than there is to get a standard loan, which you can secure against, say, a building or something other than, because I think everyone gasps when you say 21%.
Yeah, the sources of a Greek fund, this question is, why is it more of an incentive to get an Greek loan, right?
Yeah, in comparison to a standard loan.
Yeah, it's because most of these are Greek funding. You see, developed countries have put money in most of these big banks, where Centenary picks some of the money. The aim is that the local person, the lowest earning person, in this case in Uganda we look at the farmer especially, should get this funding at a minimal cost. So that's why it is given at a concessional price.
So what's the standard interest rate for a normal bank loan?
Alright?
What is the interest rate for a normal bank loan?
Can be about 27%. Yeah, I'm going to give you my business cards. Probably you will distribute them on the email. On the business card there is an email.
Yeah, but we've heard of agricultural loans being at a lower interest rate than that in other banks like DFCU, like Bank of Africa, and we thought your bank would be performing way better than the other bank because it's more close to the farmer and close to the farmer goes to. Farmers don't make that kind of money.
Okay. Peter, let me answer your question quite very fast. The loans that I was talking about are indigenous Centenary Bank loans. However, there is that kind of funding that I think you could be talking about, whereby funds have been put, Bank of Africa, DFCU, Centenary Bank, to mention but a few. The interest rate for that loan is 10%. Now, that loan,
that's what we want to hear.
that loan is given to farmers who are involved in agricultural production, not agricultural marketing. Okay? Like you pig farmers, you can be given that loan. That loan, the maximum to an individual borrower is 2.1 billion. Yes, 2.1 billion. But can go low up to 600,000 Uganda shillings.
That's what we want to hear in the first place. So how do we get it?
How you get it, just approach any of our branches. They will be able to help you out.
I am not very answer giving.
Yes.
I am a customer of only Centenary Bank. I have never gone to any other bank. This agriculture loan has been talked about for the last year, for about 4 years, I think. But all the loans officer I have gone to in Centenary Bank are ignorant about it. I have been interested to get it, but I have failed. The people who have benefited from that agriculture loan are those who bank in this country. So I am wondering whether there is something wrong with the Centenary Bank about this loan, or whether it has found that again is better in this commercial loan, business loan, and it has been diverted to business loans other than assisting agriculture loan. Then I want you to be honest with us, whether Centenary Bank is giving this money, and if it is giving it, what procedures can we use to really access it? If me was being banked in Centenary for the last 20 years, and who was board even up to about 300 million, are free to get it, who is going to benefit from it?
In some what you are saying, I wouldn't want to victimize people, but I think you need to educate your own officers, especially in Ginger. Where you go to get a loan and you basically presenting your piggery project as the project that you're going to finance.
and then a loans officer is basically telling you on how to basically go about the same project. I've gotten quite some enlightenment about feeding, but unfortunately, your loans officer is advising me on feeding my pigs on maize bran twice a day. So I think you enlighten your loans officers and basically get to know the purpose of why as a person is getting that loan.
Thank you. Maybe to begin with you, the last one is that it is unfortunate probably that we have such scenarios happening in Ginger. But the loans officer's role is to understand and appreciate what you do and then see how best he can present to the approvers the financing need. So I'll take it up and I'll communicate to the management of Ginger branch to do something about it. See what behind there? I don't know which branch you've branch. It's quite unfortunate that they have not given you that attention. But more still is that most of our people, just like the president keeps going on TV and telling people, please, agriculture is the way to go. But people still want to run away from those agricultural activities. So that's the tendency, I believe, that you're getting from that branch. And I'm going to take it up with the manager of credit services there to make sure that I will take your details so that we see how best we can help. It is an unfortunate situation, and otherwise you're not supposed to go through that. You're supposed to get that service.
I'm still a little bit confused. What's the difference between the agricultural of 10% and the other one of 21? I just don't understand why you insisted on presenting to us the one of 21% interest rate. I'm not talking about the one of 10%, because I want one where it's much lower.
Yeah, the one of 10%, much as I told you that it can go lower to 600,000, but the approvers try to insist on highly mechanized kind of financing. You want to purchase a tractor which costs hundreds of millions. Those are the ones they want to look at. So we have eventually decided to present our own indigenous agricultural products for small funding. Yeah. Otherwise, those two loans exist.
As a bank, have you looked at the return on investment for an average agricultural project?
The return on
investment?
Yes. Yeah.
What is the average return? For example,
the average return is about 15%.
For the piggery industry?
Yeah.
So
but that notwithstanding, yeah, when you go by Motima-based feeds.
Now, if someone had an average of, say, the industry average is 15%, and you're lending out at 21%, so how do you expect the farmers to...
No, when we are looking at return, yes, on investment, we assume that all the other costs have been catered for. You've paid the bank loan, you've paid for the feeds, you've paid for the workers. If you're hiring land, you've already paid. That is net income as return on investment. I think that one answers you.
A component, they call it pari, but that's a component of the main National Agricultural Research Organization, the animal component. I'm also a research fellow with the International Livestock Research Institute. I think we're well represented in the morning. The team leader who leads us here in Kampala was the one, I think, who opened the occasion. I was not able to make it early in time. Mr. Timekeeper, I pledged to use 15 minutes. I'll try my best and use 15 minutes to present. People they are satisfied. So tell me that I should use 15 minutes and then the other minutes for asking questions. Bearing that in mind, you will excuse me, and no one realized that I cannot cover the things that the veterinarian covers in 5 years, and I cover it in 15 minutes. I'll try and be precise. I'll try also and do my best to simplify the science. I don't want to talk science. They have always blamed us at work with the narrow that we do too much research and we put it on the desk to lie that some colleagues have been challenging me this afternoon already. Anyway, I think we should proceed. All of us are in. Should we proceed? Yes. So we're beginning with an introduction. I'm talking about why the pig. Then that's the reason why all of us are here. And I'm giving a keynote here that is one of the most efficient feed converters. That is, I think you will bear with me, the nutritionist, you will really accept that fact. So, and even you, the farmers who are here, and bearing that in mind, I would really, everywhere I go, I would encourage someone to have at least a pig in their homestead. I think you agree with me? Yes. It doesn't need a lot of training to do it. You can have a pig, just like you have a hen per homestead. So, I ask a question. Why, if it has high economic returns, it can be fed with the common feeds available, it can grow under the normal environment that we have here, the tropical environment, and it does well. So why the poor one? The poor economic returns? I ask the question. I note here that the prerequisite for high economic return is to raise a healthy pig herd. Raising a healthy pig doesn't just come. There are so many, it's a combination of factors that enable you to keep disease out of your herd or from your pig. So, though it's a prerequisite, the challenge is that today's pig farmer, that is you and me, I'm planning to become one. I'm not yet, I don't yet have pigs. Funny enough, I don't yet have pigs, but I'm planning to have pigs. Yes, it's very funny that I don't have a pig. Yet I'm talking about the pig, but I have the other animals. I'm not like the Mubazi who doesn't have a chair in the house. The carpenter without a chair in the house. So I mentioned the challenges that have caused the pig to produce poor or to be unhealthy. One of them is the unhygienic environment, which provides a very conducive environment for disease to occur. You can bear with me that even us humans, if you keep the environment that is around you and within you dirty, it automatically becomes what? Disease. The Basawas say that when diseases where there is unhealthiness, it has already been translated into a disease. So this is the key, the basic of why our animals become unhealthy. We allow them to be in a very unhygienic environment. At this point, I can note that we did some research with the eating, and we moved to various parts of the country, except the north. And I'd like to inform my brothers and sisters from the north that soon we are going to the north to do research there, in Gulu and Amur in particular. So please, don't think that maybe we're being very biased. We realized that on average, most of the pig farmers here in Uganda are keeping them at their smallholder level. That is one. And then two, because they're keeping them on the smallholder level, they take pig keeping for granted. As has already been noted, anything that you don't invest your time, you don't invest your money or your energy in and your concentration, what do you expect eventually at the end of the day? You shall reap nothing. So we are having that challenge, that in most cases what we do is you get a pig, you buy a neighbor's pig, bring it home. You don't care where you feed it from, you don't care where you keep it. So I'm already talking about the combination of factors that result in having an unhealthy pig. Poor housing, poor feeding. You don't apply measures that prevent infection, and so many others we're going to be discussing shortly. So I note here that recent studies, as I told you that we've been doing some studies, recent studies have shown that the biggest problem, the biggest disease challenge that we are having as disease farmers here in the country, Uganda in particular, I'm not talking about the neighboring countries, but Uganda in particular, is the problem of African swine fever. If someone who is closer can read and see, you realize that African fever takes almost 47.5%, which almost combines all the other infections, implying that we expect every year to make a loss for the unserious farmer. I'm not talking about you, the progressive farmers, commercial farmers who are here, but the unserious farmers who are down there, the smallholder. We expect everywhere to be visited by that scourge called African swine fever and to make huge losses, massive losses of almost 100%. That is everywhere. And the similar studies have also shown that this disease, when it visits your farm, it will clear almost all the animals. Besides that, it comes in two phases every year almost. Usually, according to the mapping the trends and mappings that you've done, it comes around, it stretches from around April, May, and it disorganizes the farmer. It can clear maybe your 5 or 10 pigs. Then you restock with maybe 3 more. By October again, it will strike. Why? We shall know the reason why. The second biggest problem is the worms. And with worms, for those, the Basawas, they categorize them as roundworms, nodular worms, whipworms, red stomach worms, but all are worms. Because they infest in the what? In the gastrointestinal system of the pig. The third major disease of concern is diarrhea. We are calling it a disease. I'm just categorizing it as a disease, but in actual sense, it is, in actual physician's sense, it is actually a sign. It's an indicator of presence of what? Of a disease, which can come about because of what? Probably the feed, the way you fed them, or the poor feeding, resulting into indigestion. Then also the parasites, the ones we've already talked about, when they attach the intestines, they cause holes. I think I'll just use the word hole. They perforate or make holes in the what? In the intestine, causing the intestine lining or the inside of the intestine not to hold back the food supposed to be digesting. It just passes out and goes as diarrhea. And it can also be a sign of infection of these diseases caused by these contagious infections or diseases caused by bacteria, by protozoa, and so many of those infections. The other important issue is malnutrition. It is a disease also. And you know what causes malnutrition. They have already talked, so many I had, I was just outside there, I was hearing a debate going on about feeding, the right feed. If you don't feed well, don't expect that much. I will not dwell so much in that. But it's also what? It's a disease condition that can directly cause the animal not to be well, or it can be a contributing factor for other diseases or infections to come in and kill your pig or make it produce poorly. There is another one which seems to be very simple, and many of us look at it as insignificant. but it's very important. It is the commonest. This one here, ectoparasites. All those different parasites that occur on top of the skin, in the hair of the pig. We have the mange. Mange always digs into the skin itself. In my language, they call it olukuku. I don't know how you call it in your language, but I cannot describe it more than that. It causes the pig to scratch so much. And I'm telling you, if you go to the village, like we with the commercial farmers who are here, who apply, or those who apply to the commercial farmers, I should not, if you call me as a South, sure, I should not find this to be a challenge on your farm. It's a very simple thing, because you can just look at the pig. It's visible, and you know that this is the problem. And the solution to it is also very simple. It goes back to the hygiene. So, mange, lice, ticks. Then the last one, and the least, according to the rankings of that study that was done, led by that team leader, Danilo Pezzo, from the International Livestock Institute, was talking to you this morning. It was foot and mouth disease. Though it tends to affect the animals, the cattle especially, it's also a problem in pigs. Yes, the pig can carry the foot and mouth virus, that kauka, or that virus anyway, for a long time and doesn't come down with the infection. It will become a source for other animals that are around it. But in actual sense, when it is stressed, if you give it very little food, or if you keep it in an environment which is stressful, it can also cause problems. How does it cause problems? It can cause, if the sores come on the mouth, how will it eat well? The limbs will not be steady when it stands. It will be restless. There are so many other infections that affect the pig. We can categorize them as contagious disease conditions and non-contagious. And there are several. But because, as I already noted, it's a lot, and we cannot do everything, cover it all today. We will, I'll request the organizer, maybe with the time, we'll always be having packages. But for today, we are just introducing. I'm asking a question here. How do we know our pigs are sick? I think everyone has an answer for that. You can, if you're a serious farmer, when you wake up early in the morning, the very first thing, if you love your pig, if you're doing this work with a passion, or if you're planning to do pig farming as a business, you should always keep it in mind that every time you wake up in the morning, you first go look at your heart. You don't have to ask the mama, or if you're a man, or the father, the head of the family, or someone specific, or the kids, or the house help, to keep looking at the pig, to go look at the pigs. It's your responsibility every morning, or at least whenever you get time. I know all of you here are people who are professionals. You have white-collar jobs somewhere, or you do a lot of business, and you travel a lot. But spare some time, and go observe your pigs. Always spare some time and look at your pigs and see how they are carrying on health-wise. So you can easily realize that a pig is sick. You can know it will not be active like the way it is supposed to be all the time. A healthy pig is supposed to be always active. It's supposed to always have its tail. Could I call it dancing in a local way? Allow me to use the word dancing. Then also, if you offer it food, someone already said the pig will always eat. So we expect you to get food, and when you give the pig, it should what? It should bite, it should take a bite. And then water, it should take water. It should not limit it from water, it should not limit itself from taking water. So if it's off that, or if it's taking less compared to what you've been giving it, goes back to the issue of if you've invested there your money, why do you allow other people to carry the responsibility of doing all the hands-on work? You should get involved. I know very many of you are business people. In case you want something to succeed, you have to put there your hand. My mother always used to tell me that if you have planted bananas or groundnuts, they should smell your odor in order to grow. I used to wonder what that means until I've grown and I've understood. It's all about having involvement yourself as a person in your business, your personal business. But if you think you're too busy, then you'd rather not do it at all. Leave it. You'll be wasting time. So sometimes the pig can be, of course you'll be restless. If it is sick, if you're a human being, you're sick, you cannot be comfortable, you'll be restless. If it is very sick and down to go down, it means it just lies down all the time instead of it standing. Then, of course, when you're not well, if you look around and see someone going to the corner, even as we're eating, and then the person goes ahead to the corner while others are gathered in groups talking and chatting, then you know there's a problem, not so. So likewise with the pigs, or the animals, they are not so much different from us. Our lifestyle is not so much different from the animals, sure. You can just detect and know there's something wrong with this animal. There are so many other signs, and the signs vary from one disease to the other. As I already noted that their diseases can be categorized as those which are infectious or non-infectious. There are those ones the animal can live with. Is sick but can bear with it. You'll only realize maybe when it's slightly stressed, there's a change in a weather condition, like it is drought, and then you see it's lying down, it is behaving abnormally, yet it has always been carrying what? The infection. So we can have a whole one day to speak about the signs of disease, and they vary from one disease to the other. So my next question is, how can I keep the disease, my heart free from the disease? How can I do that? How can I keep my pigs free from disease right from the time I bred them or bought them from out to the time when I sell them off? How can I be able to do that? The basics. I'm talking about the basics, but in detail there's a lot you can do. I started with the issue of ensuring a very clean environment of where the pig eats from, where the pig lies, or where the pig stays. Someone was complimenting the organizers for their site, for their demonstration site, of how they keep their pigs clean. So maybe they will tell us how they manage to do that. So if you kept the environment where the animals stay clean, hard level the infection, be able to